thousands of miles, hundreds of cars, one special place. I'm Jay Leno, and this is my garage. Join me and my guests as we pop the hood on some of the coolest cars around. Look at that. Because if it rolls, we'll take it for a ride. Explodes, or makes a whole bunch of noise, we got it.
Police lights reflecting off polished chrome. A quiet industrial building in Burbank. And a headline that spread faster than anyone expected. When viewers saw the words, "Police were called after what they found in Jay Leno's Big Dog garage," curiosity instantly turned into disbelief. Because this wasn't just any garage. This was Jay Leno's garage. A place almost mythological to car enthusiasts, historians, and collectors alike. A place that represents preservation, not scandal. Passion, not secrecy. And yet, for a brief moment, the internet was convinced something inside had crossed a line. Jay Leno is more than a former talk show host.
Thank you very much. I love you heard. It's a big story. Hi, guys.
He spent decades building credibility as one of the most knowledgeable automotive historians alive. His love for cars didn't begin with fame or wealth. Long before television, Jay was a struggling comedian sleeping in his car, fixing engines because he couldn't afford repairs. That mechanical curiosity never left him. Today, Big Dog Garage houses well over 180 cars and more than 160 motorcycles, ranging from the late 1800s to modern hypercars, including steam-powered vehicles, early electric cars, pre-war classics, race machines, and one-off prototypes that most people will never see in person. This isn't a private museum hidden from view. Jay Leno's garage has been one of the most openly documented private collections in the world for over a decade. Entire episodes are dedicated to walking viewers through acquisitions, restorations, and even mistakes. Jay has never hidden the fact that many of his cars arrived in rough condition, sometimes forgotten for decades before being rescued. And that reality is where rumor and truth begin to blur. The viral claim suggested that police were called after something shocking was discovered inside the garage. The phrasing was intentional. Vague enough to let imagination run wild, specific enough to imply legitimacy. And because Jay Leno's garage contains vehicles older than modern automotive law.
Chrome and
exactly.
Just barely be. So you want something that's going to protect it. And this works really well. It's fun to find out where it comes from. You know?
The best use is when your daily drivers, the guy that...
Vehicle with disputed ownership? Something imported decades ago under different regulations? Or worse, something illegal? But as of December 2025, there is no verified report from law enforcement agencies, reputable media outlets, or Jay Leno himself confirming a police investigation triggered by a discovery inside Big Dog Garage. No police blotter entries. No public records. No official statements. What exists instead is a familiar pattern. A dramatic narrative built on a foundation of fascination rather than fact. That doesn't mean emergency services have never been involved at the garage. In November 2022, Jay Leno suffered severe burns after a fuel fire erupted while he was working on a vintage steam car. That incident was real, documented, and widely reported. Emergency responders were called. Jay was hospitalized and later underwent multiple surgeries. He spoke openly about it, even joking about returning to work as soon as possible. That moment alone proves how hands-on Jay truly is. This isn't a collector who locks cars behind velvet ropes. He works on them himself. The garage itself is a fully operational mechanical facility. Engines are rebuilt there. Fuels are tested. Some vehicles use systems that haven't been common in nearly a century: steam boilers, early carburetors, primitive electrical systems, and alternative fuels. Jay has long been vocal about preserving original engineering rather than modernizing everything. That means some vehicles operate under historical exemptions that are perfectly legal but misunderstood by those unfamiliar with automotive history. And misunderstanding fuels rumors. Big Dog Garage sits quietly from the outside, but inside it's a labyrinth of automotive evolution. There are cars that predate the concept of standardized VIN numbers. Vehicles built before emissions laws, crash regulations, and even driver licensing existed. Jay owns steam cars from the early 1900s that technically operate more like rolling pressure vessels.
a good car? I go, yeah. Should I buy it? I said, this is my client. Okay, I'm gonna buy this one. Yeah, the guy's like, what? Yes, sir. I mean, it's very funny. Yeah, but I like Miles. Yeah, it's a really fantastic car. Fast, handles.
Jay's collection also includes rare foreign vehicles imported decades ago under regulations that have since changed. Some of these cars could never be imported today under current laws, but are perfectly legal because they were brought in under earlier exemptions. That alone has sparked online speculation for years, especially among viewers unfamiliar with grandfather clauses in vehicle law. Then there are the prototypes. Jay has publicly acknowledged owning concept cars and experimental vehicles never intended for mass production. Some were built by manufacturers as test beds. Others were engineering exercises that never made it past a single unit. These cars often lack traditional documentation because they were never sold through conventional channels. Again, legal, but ripe for misunderstanding. So when a video implies police involvement without offering evidence, it taps into an environment already filled with mystery. The internet loves the idea that something hidden finally came to light, especially when the location is legendary. But Jay Leno's reputation matters. Over decades, he's cultivated trust not just as a celebrity, but as a steward of automotive history. Museums collaborate with him. Manufacturers loan him cars. Engineers seek his input. He has testified before lawmakers on automotive preservation issues. This is not someone operating in legal gray areas without oversight. There's also a practical reality that undermines the viral claim. Big Dog Garage isn't secretive. Staff, mechanics, media crews, and visitors cycle through regularly. If police had truly been called for a major discovery, it wouldn't remain hidden. In today's environment, someone would have documented it. A neighbor, an employee, a journalist. Silence itself becomes evidence. So why do these stories keep appearing? Because Jay Leno's garage represents a rare intersection of wealth, history, and accessibility. It feels close enough to be real, yet exclusive enough to feel mysterious.
All the others as well, so a lot of firsts on these cars. But yeah, to me, I really consider this the first supercar. And even now, you can drive it and more than keep up with traffic. You know, I'll take mine up to the crest, Angeles Crest.
The truth is more interesting than the rumor. Jay continues to acquire vehicles not for value alone, but for historical importance. In recent years, he has focused increasingly on alternative propulsion history, early electrics, steam, and experimental fuels, precisely because modern conversations around EVs and sustainability often ignore that these ideas existed over a century ago. His collection proves that innovation isn't new. It's cyclical. As of late 2025, Jay remains actively involved with Big Dog Garage. He continues to film new content, participate in car culture events, and advocate for the preservation of mechanical knowledge. There have been no announcements of investigations, shutdowns, or legal trouble related to his collection. The viral video's power lies not in what it proves, but in what it suggests. It invites viewers to believe they're witnessing the unraveling of a legend. But legends don't usually collapse in silence. They crumble loudly, publicly, and undeniably. None of that has happened here. What we're left with is a reminder of how quickly speculation can overshadow reality. Jay Leno's Big Dog Garage doesn't need manufactured drama. It's real stories, rescued machines, near-fatal accidents, century-old engineering still running today, are already compelling. Sometimes the most shocking thing isn't what was found, but how easily fiction spreads when curiosity outweighs verification. And maybe that's the real lesson here. In a world driven by headlines and urgency, slowing down to separate fact from implication matters more than ever. Because when the subject is someone who's spent a lifetime preserving history, the truth deserves more attention than the rumor. So before believing the next viral claim, ask yourself this. If something truly world-shaking had been found inside Jay Leno's garage, would we really be hearing about it from a vague headline first?
This is Series 1 Jag with a Series 2 front end.
It's got the big wheel arch.
Right, we shortened the wheelbase. We took out the
Let me know what you think. Would you want to explore Big Dog Garage yourself, or do you think some legends are better left untouched?